Hi, I'm Clarissa J. Markiewicz, and I'm happy to be here with you as part of Writers and Books Literary Partners virtual reading series. Today I'll be reading to you from my novel, Christmas in Whimsy. It's an uplifting tale of three women who call on a mystical local legend for help in balancing their topsy-turvy lives. This excerpt is from the first chapter, and I hope you enjoy. Chapter 1. Lexi Moore's interview with Santa had gone off the rails. If there was one reality she'd learned in her 9 years since graduating J School, it was that news stories were like kids. They could have a mind of their own. She sat across from the jolliest elf in front of Santa's pavilion on the second floor of the Orange Clove Marketplace, the unofficial official mall of Whimsy, New York, as all the directories said. Amid the jeans and yoga pants dressing most people's Saturday morning, Lexi wore her own comfy weekend attire of wide-legged trousers, a blouse and vest, and a blazer. The blazer, though, currently hung on the back of her chair, along with her coat and scarf. It had gotten pretty warm in here for Lexi. Sunshine gleamed through the mall's glass roof, and what she'd said to her boyfriend at breakfast had her sweating. Yes, she'd assured him, for what was, by her count, the 100th time, I am looking forward to tonight. Since then, she tried to keep her mind on more pleasant, relaxing topics, like her job. It seemed as though every child in Whimsy was out this morning. An interview with Santa? What kid in her right mind was going to miss that, especially with Christmas only 3 weeks out? Already, the kids had been springing up like popcorn from their spots on the huge vinyl mat in front of Santa and Lexi. But then Mrs. Claus had come around with warm chocolate chip cookies. The sugar boost sent the little ones into a frenzy, calling out their own questions. Lexi might have been annoyed by the hijacking of her interview if the hijackers weren't so darned cute. So for a little while now, Lexi had sat back, listening and taking notes and trying to ignore the platter of those warm chocolate chip cookies. They were barely into December, and Lexi's diet, admittedly not the healthiest anyway, had already given her the unwanted gift of extra pounds on her thighs and hips. In between taking notes, her fingers found their way to playing with the ends of her straight, shoulder-length auburn hair. This was apt to happen whenever she was denied something she wanted. Then she jerked her hand down away from her hair, as was apt to happen whenever she caught herself doing it. Finally, Lexi tried to take the interview reins once more. Everyone, she said sweetly but firmly over the hullabaloo, we don't want to keep Santa from his important duties, do we? No, came the somewhat horrified response. Keeping Santa from his duties, dear God. That had to land you on the naughty list, right up there with finger painting with Mom's nail polish and sticking bubblegum in your sister's hair. No kid was going to mess with such things this close to Christmas. Well, almost no kid. A freckly redhead about 7 years old jumped up. All the parents stood behind the mat, and this little boy's mom had come over to him 3 times already to calm him down. The mom sent Lexi an apologetic look, but it was Lexi who felt for the mother. This little one had to be a handful, she guessed. At 32, Lexi was no stranger to the biological pangs telling her it was time for motherhood. But one of her many worries about having children was having a child like him. She didn't know what scared her more, a pint-sized whirlwind, or that he'd stopped spinning just long enough to look to her, of all people, for guidance. She snuck a glimpse at her boyfriend, Theo, standing off to the side and chatting with his sister. Lexi's heart fluttered, as it always did, when she spotted his downy brown hair, glasses, and muscular build across a crowded room. In the 3 years they'd been together, she had never heard him express doubts about fatherhood or how their lives would change with a family. She'd never revealed her doubts to him, either. The little red-headed boy fairly wriggled with excitement standing before the big man in red. With a lisp that could have landed him a record deal singing All I Want for Christmas is My 2 Front Teeth, he spouted, Santa, could you tell us the legend of Whimsy? Please, his mother urged at him in a whisper. Cleve? The boy asked. The adults in the crowd laughed gently. Lexi was no exception. She went back to scribbling notes on her legal pad. The legend of whimsy. She had to admit, this was turning out better than her interview could have. Her editor at Upstate Magazine was going to love this as the crowning jewel in Lexi's cover story for the upcoming issue. She'd been working toward this for months between other assignments, culling research, talking to scads of townies, simply observing and crafting the longest, most in-depth cover story in the magazine's recent history. This was what their readers craved. Upstate circulation was heaviest among busy and bustling Manhattanites who thrived in the concrete jungle and yet dreamed of spa retreats, artisan boutiques, hiking trails, and cozy small-town getaways. For the 5 years she'd been working at Upstate, Lexi had wanted to do a holiday profile in her hometown of whimsy. It was perfect, with its rolling, snow-covered hills an hour outside the city. The outdoor kids' rink, just past the Golden Pedestrian Gallantry Bridge, had skaters day and night. The Orange Clove Marketplace, with the Holiday Hutch, Brûlée Bakery and Cafe, and OC Fair, where singing elves bagged the groceries, never ran out of cocoa and pumpkin pie samples. Whimsy was the North Pole on overload this time of year, and it even came with its own legend. Santa gave an ebullient "ho ho ho" and tugged on his luxurious and genuine, thank you very much, whiskers. "Well, children, the legend of whimsy," he said, and then he stopped himself with a curious glance at Lexi. "Actually, I think Ms. Moore might want to field this one." He winked at her. "You do so love the tale." Lexi froze. She muttered to Santa, "How did you know that?" Santa's eyes just twinkled. Odds were, he was either guessing or this was someone Lexi knew and just didn't recognize. She'd lived here her whole life, and Santa was probably an old high school teacher or a neighbor. Whimsy was small enough that if you were out walking at 4 a.m. on the west side, you could smell the bread baking at Harvest Loaf on the east side. But Christmas and the legend of whimsy weren't about logic and odds. They were too magical for that, and that's exactly what Lexi liked most about them both. "Legend has it," Lexi said to the redhead, "that our little town of whimsy has a magic all its own that comes with holiday snow." "What's holiday snow?" the redhead interrupted. "Oh, it's the best kind," said Lexi. "There are 2 types of snow. There's the kind that comes in January or February, sometimes March or April, and it seems a little sad. It's cold and wet and sort of gray. But then there's holiday snow. Holiday snow is fluffy, and it's fun, and it sparkles like glitter." Santa chimed in. "My reindeer and elves find it's the best variety for snow, for making angels, and it has a sweet yet robust flavor for catching on your tongue." The adults chuckled, and the kids cheered. "But there's another special thing about holiday snow," said Lexi. "Holiday snow brings a spirit of whimsy, a daughter of Mother Nature. Some say she's an angel. Some say she's energy all around us, watching over us. But one thing everyone agrees on is she wears a magic watch that begins to run when the first flakes of holiday snow fly. The watch tells her when it's time for her to visit us again, from approximately a quarter to winter to half past New Year's." The red-headed boy called, "How can whimsy wear a watch?" He held his wrist in the air. "Energy can't wear a watch. You need a wrist to wear a watch." The boy's mother groaned. Lexi flicked her evergreen eyes to Santa, and sure enough, Santa stepped up. He leaned forward toward the child. "It's magic, my boy," he said through a conspiratorial smile. "Whimsy is all magic. You know that feeling of goodwill that fills your heart at Christmas time? It makes older folks feel like children again and fills us all with wonder. That's whimsy. Sometimes she even helps Santa make wishes come true." The children oohed and gasped, and Santa laid a finger aside of his nose and winked at the boy. Wishes like a Quicksilver Raptor racer car with remote control, Lucas. The boy's jaw dropped. His eyes popped. In hushed astonishment, he uttered, "That's me. I'm Lucas." A warm feeling filled Lexi's chest. Lucas scrambled to his feet. "Mom," he called, whipping around to face her. "We gotta go. I gotta clean my room." He ran to his mother and tugged on her hand. "Well, I'm not going to argue with that," said his mom. "Thanks, Santa," yelled Lucas as he hauled his mom off. "Thanks, Legend Lady." "Yes," the mom called over her shoulder. "Thank you both." Lexi caught Theo's eye. Even amid such a crowd, they shared an intimate moment and a smile, both charmed by the scene. The magic, the near completion of Lexi's best article to date, the wings Theo's loving gaze set upon her heart, all of it began to put Lexi's mind at ease about tonight. After all, it was just a date. Yes, an extravagant one. Yes, an important one, as Theo had said. He'd reserved them a table at Rendezvous in the city and called in about 50 favors to secure just the right horse-drawn carriage ride around Central Park with just the right coachman. They'd been out on swanky dates before, and he'd given her no real indication this one would be any different, thank goodness. Here she'd started to let her fears get the best of her, and she'd read too much into his plans. They would go, have fun, be in love, and tomorrow everything would be exactly the same as it was right now, period. Theo leaned over and murmured to his sister. He was still smiling. His sister's smile, however, faded with her response, and suddenly Lexi knew what they were saying. She knew as her heart came crashing back down, its wings clipped. She knew as the magic around her faded. As she heaved a petrified sigh, she knew. Theo was going to propose tonight. What a ridiculous thing to be scared of, Lexi told herself. Wasn't this her dream? Wasn't it everyone's? To fall in love with your best friend and share an incredible fairy tale night that ended with a glimmering ring and a joyful yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Lexi kept a smile on as Santa continued to talk to the kids, and she tried to keep her hand moving and notes flowing across her legal pad, even as her stomach tightened and she kept sneaking glances at Theo and his sister, Anna. Maybe Anna could talk him down, she hoped. The two women got along famously. Often, one invited the other to go shopping or meet up for breakfast for dinner after work, sans Theo. All three of them commuted to Manhattan, but Lexi and Anna happened to work in offices uptown near their favorite charming little dive, Bradshaw's Diner on 118th. Theo was way downtown, working in rare manuscripts at the New York Public Library. It may have been possible one evening over sunny-side-up eggs and rye toast that Lexi could have let slip her doubts to Anna about taking that next serious step with Theo. She imagined the conversation going on now between the siblings. "Tonight's the night," Theo said. "I'm going to ask Lex to marry me." "I don't know," said Anna. "I don't think she's ready to settle down." "Of course she is. She's a senior reporter at the magazine with some real creative control. She doesn't have to go off chasing every story anymore. She already is settling down. Besides, my girl can juggle it all. She's my superwoman." His superwoman. At least once a day he called her that. For the longest time, she'd struck a pose at the somewhat unconventional pet name, hands on hips, chin jutted proudly. Lex had always thought she had too sharp of a chin, and this was the one scenario it seemed to work in. Only she didn't think a real superwoman would lie awake nights, worrying in the dark of her bedroom and in the dark of her mind about how to keep all the balls in the air at once. A superwoman wouldn't nervously play with her hair and then chastise herself for playing with her hair. She felt at times she was barely keeping it all together as it was. Just how was she supposed to do all this with a husband and a child or two? A child or two! The most serious responsibility she'd ever take on was bringing a person into this world. His entire survival would depend on her. Sometimes she barely felt she was taking care of herself. What would she do as a mom when a deadline kept her working through dinner? Order Chinese and let her kid gum a scallion pancake? What would his first words be? Mother, for the love of God, please dust the bookshelves. Lately, Lexi hadn't been striking her superwoman pose, only giving a wan smile when Theo made the reference. Ms. Moore? Lexi blinked back from her thoughts and saw Santa watching her expectantly. Oh, yes, sorry. Santa held his belly as he laughed. No apology necessary. I know I get that faraway look when I haven't had my cookies. He pointed at her. But your cellular phone seems to be buzzing. Sure enough, the thing vibrated in her belt clip like it was trying to escape. Right, excuse me, Santa. Kids. She jumped out of her seat and took the call as she stepped away from the group. Behind her, Mrs. Claus asked the children who'd like to tell Santa what they'd like for Christmas. The entire room erupted in a volcano of me, and Lexi had to plug her free ear and scurry into the stairwell to hear her caller. Theo slipped into the stairwell with her, just before the fire door clicked shut. The two were alone, except for Spark, Lexi's assistant, who was currently speaking so fast on the phone that Lexi could barely understand her. Whoa, Spark, hang on, said Lexi. Theo tried to nuzzle up to her, but Lexi gently brushed him away. She couldn't make out what Spark was talking about, but she knew her assistant. Something was seriously wrong. Take a breath, try again. What's going on? Sorry, said Spark. Okay, the article's gone, Lex. Lexi reached out to the railing to steady herself. What article? She asked, hoping it was not what she thought. She had to mean some other article. A blurb, a quick profile, anything else. The article, said Spark. Little thing you've been working on? Cover story you've referred to several times as your baby that you're wrapping up today with Santa? Oh, no, Lexi moaned. What do you mean it's gone? I mean you got a virus on your computer and the thing is toast. Your whole hard drive. Both women said to each other simultaneously, Please tell me you backed this up. Spark squealed, Me? Last time I tried to touch your work, I believe your exact words were, Spark, it's bad luck for anyone else to even look at my writing before it's done. If you go near it, I will be cursed and may never write another word. Do you want me to never write another word? Is that what you... But I told you this time to back up everything each night, Spark, Lexi yelled. Her voice echoed in the well, taking on a cold, metallic tone. Theo had backed off, arms crossed, lips pressed together in concern. I was trusting you to do it this time. You didn't do it once? When did you tell me to do that? Spark asked, her pitch reaching an octave normally unattainable without helium. The day I started writing this, Lexi thought back. She'd brought a flash drive to the office and stuck it in her top drawer with a sticky note attached to it that said Christmas article for Spark. Oh no. Spark, are you at my desk? Yep. Can you open my top drawer? I need you to look for something for me. You may need to dig around a little. Sure. The muffled noises of Spark, shifting papers, and general junk came through the phone. I honestly don't... Hey! There's a little flash drive here with my name on it. Aw, you did a purple sticky. I love purple stickies. Right around the time Spark said the words flash drive, Lexi began quietly knocking her forehead against the wall. Now she remembered. She was going to tell Spark to back everything up when she gave her the flash drive. She just apparently hadn't actually done it. And in the interim, the thing had gotten buried by desk detritus. Theo grabbed the phone from her. Yeah, Spark, it's Theo. Lex will call you back in a few, okay? Yeah, I think it's safe to say you should stay at the office. She'll be there soon, I'm sure. Now, unfortunately, Lexi's day is not going to get any easier, which we'll see as the chapter continues. And soon we'll meet our other heroines, an aspiring actress and a widow raising a teenage son. We'll also meet a mysterious, kindly woman who seems to keep popping up in our characters' lives. Christmas in Whimsy is available at online booksellers, and if you purchase a Kindle edition or a paperback from bookbaby.com, a percentage of your purchase will go to help-worthy causes. And you can read more about that by going to my website, clarissaj.com, and clicking on Holding the Door Open. Thank you so much for joining me today, and be well.